You can't plan for everything, but you can be ready for anything. That's where we come in. Northwest Insurance Agency covers the wait, what? Moments in life with real coverage, real people, and real fast help. We offer sombrero-style coverage that protects your possessions, your loved ones, and everything else that fits under a sombrero. Call us today for a quote at 855-887-5656 or visit us at nwagencies.com.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
Ladies and gentlemen, to a very special edition of the On the Pony Express podcast presented by our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. I am Billy Embody. It is July 1st. 1 year ago today, SMU landed officially in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And who knew that the next year would bring so much change on the hilltop, but also so much excitement as well. And we are going to have a very special interview today to celebrate that 1 year anniversary for SMU making it to the ACC. And it's the man at the helm of the university as they now make their way into year 2 and beyond in the ACC. And that is SMU president Jay Hartzell, who started on the hilltop earlier this summer after a tenure at Texas over there. He goes from Austin to Dallas and now is leading SMU into what figures to be an incredibly bright future. You just look at the last year around this campus and around this university, around this athletics department as well, and all the other changes that have happened on campus, and things are headed in the right direction. And if you are still unsure if they are headed in the right direction, I think this interview with Jay Hartzell will really set you completely at ease, because it's incredible to watch Jay Hartzell, these new deans, Damon Evans, and so many new faces on the hilltop take charge and begin to chart this new course and push it in a direction that is, I think something every SMU alum, every SMU fan, every citizen of Dallas or UPHP or the surrounding suburbs can be really proud of. And no matter if you're in Los Angeles or New York City or down in Miami, coast to coast, I mean, this university is one that, as you walk around as an alum or as a fan, I think each day it seems like you can be more and more proud of this university. And Jay Hartzell will certainly show you why this was the right move to bring him in to be the next president following R.J. Turner's 30-year run on the hilltop. This is a really wide-ranging interview with President Hartzell, and we're so grateful for all of the time that he's spent with us. Do want to remind you guys, we have a really special deal going on at ontheponyexpress.com right now. $1 for 1 year. It is only on July 1st. I had to fight and beg and say, hey, let's try something. Let's make a wave with our subscribers that are out there that haven't joined us yet. We want to give you guys, on the anniversary of the ACC, something special that you can then jump on board. Our current subscribers already on the site make it an incredible place. And with the merger of On3 and Rivals, it's just such a fun time to be on the message board. So really appreciate all of you guys who have subscribed for so long, but also want to do something special. I don't think we'll do this again. After the first year anniversary, it kind of will wind down. I think as far as the, ability to do this, we don't want you guys to predict this, but $1 for 1 year to subscribe to ontheponyexpress.com and get all of the cool perks that come with that subscription. So look, before we get to our interview with Jay Hartzell, of course, appreciate Mark Villasana, Northwest Insurance Agency, 214-352-5656 for his support of the podcast. Make sure you reach out to him for your insurance rates and coverage to get reviewed, and he can kind of share with you where he feels like maybe you're lacking and where he can address. And I do want to shout out our friends at Epic as well. Really appreciate all they do for us at On the Pony Express. And we're getting closer to the return of Walking Strong with Bill Armstrong. And look, he has been a busy man. We've both been busy, but we're looking forward to football season and doing some really special things with you guys once again this season and beyond. Again, make sure you check out their wine list. what they can do in terms of their wine clubs, or just if you're getting out to Paso Robles, go visit them. They love to hear from SMU folks as well. So make sure to give your support to Epic, of course, and get some rosé ready for those early hot games, and of course some red wine to wash it down with, no matter the outcome. But before we do go to our interview with Jay Hartzell, of course, one more little plug for our friend David Henry and our friends at StatusJet, statusjet.com. Make sure you reach out to them today to start planning the trips of a lifetime for your SMU football season. StatusJet will get you there first class, in the most private way and the most exclusive way to travel. That's private jet life. And when you mention code PonyUpACC or on theponyexpress.com, StatusJet will hook you up with a discount on your round trip flight. So reach out to David Henry and his team. Go to statusjet.com for more information. You can fill out a form, or you can reach them at 844-782-8875 for more information. That's statusjet.com. Without any further ado, we go to our interview with SMU President Jay Hartzell. Hope you guys enjoy this one. It was a blast to sit down with President Hartzell and get so much from him. We have more on the website as well from our interview that was off camera. So make sure you check that out as well at ontheponyexpress.com. But without any further ado, our interview with SMU President Jay Hartzell. Welcome into a special edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. I'm Billy Embody, happy to be joined by SMU President Jay Hartzell. Thanks so much for doing this. It's great. It's great to have you on.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming, since the announcement that you were coming to Dallas and then your official start date and all of those things. You've now been able to settle in. We're closing in on a couple of weeks of officially being here. What are the first few weeks like for a new president at a new place in particular?
Yeah, I mean, the part that's been different is the new place piece, right? So I'd taken different jobs before, but then to do it at a place where you're coming from outside is interesting. And, it's been great. People have been really warm and kind. I've not lived in Dallas before. And so just getting around the community, the reception has been outstanding. And you get a sense of just a palpable sense of the momentum that is here. And I get it when I just met people for the first time, whether they went to SMU or not. People know the university's going in the right direction, and they're excited to be around it, and they want to be part of it.
Damon Evans always talks about the Mustang momentum. How do you feel that on a day-to-day basis, around the campus or in your conversations and things like that?
Yeah, I think for us day-to-day, it's everything from how we think about what we can aspire to be. There's no reason SMU won't be in that top sort of pantheon of great urban private schools, right? And so just kind of making sure we all continue to focus on what's possible, whether it's getting the next professor to come, trying to get people to collaborate, to really just strive for something that's even more hard to pull off.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. And then I think a lot of it is just getting a sense that people want to help and help each other, and whether that's obviously financial, but also just get involved, get engaged, hire students. All that is really fueling what we're all part of right now.
And when you come in as a new president, you have a binder. College football coaches, we sit here in this, they have their binder. They know they got to implement this, they got to do this, they got to hire this person, bring that in.
Yeah.
What's it like for a president? You got to take stock of what is or
what's
isn't,
here,
and you got to feel it out. I mean,
for sure. And the universities are different places to run.
Yeah.
If you come in a company, you can I've heard do more kind of top down.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not really the culture of a university. Mm-hmm. And so you want really to get people to feel like they can put their ideas on the table too. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of what we're going to do in the next several months will be a real strategic planning process where we're going to ask hopefully the whole community to get involved and get the ideas out there. So part of it is I feel like my job is more facilitating some of that, okay. Trying to encourage people to get involved, to drive support, to drive engagement, and help make the process happen. But really it's trying to help the entire SMU community be part of it.
There was a thought, as we sit here in this building, that I don't know if many people would have thought 10 years ago would have been built. And athletics is a way to, it's not free marketing, but it is a way to bring your university to masses when it's done at a very high level. You've experienced that at your prior stop, of course. what do you see with SMU, and how can SMU be taken to that next level that it is already trending toward right now?
Yeah, I think part of what has not always been well understood, when it goes the way it should, when it goes well, athletics and academics are really in tandem. They feed each other. And you've seen it now at SMU the last couple of years especially. And so it's not as hard to explain to people when they see what the move to the ACC has done. They see what the success on the football field has done. The brand of the whole university has been rising. And we've seen a 56% increase in applications and in 1 year, right? And that just, I can't think of any other way to drive that kind of just shock to our demand for what we do. And it's going to be phenomenal because we're going to get more and more talented students to come. The faculty will continue to get better and better. The staff that work with them are going to be more engaged and encouraged about it. So it really is in concert with each other, and you can feel it on campus on a daily basis.
Is there a thought to grow the university from a student population perspective with that increased number of applications? You could still have the same quality.
That's right.
But
yeah, and I think that'll be clearly part of the planning process. Will be to see, do we like the case for growth? To your point, if we get more students who want to be here, then we can hold quality constant, maybe even improve it while we grow. But there are challenges to that too. This is a residential campus environment, which is special. Yeah. The campus is awesome. Yeah. And you want to make sure those special things are maintained. This is a place where students get a more intimate experience with their faculty in the classroom setting. Yeah. And so all that's special you want to protect. And so growth is tricky because you can't just open up the floodgates. But I think it is something that we'll have to consider what a several-year journey might look like. Yeah.
How involved are you on athletics? Right before we sat down, SMU football, we can't talk about his name, but picked up a huge commitment, beat out Ohio State, LSU, Texas A&M. Are you, I'm watching every single thing that's going, I'm like this, or are you, okay, I'm a fan, or all of that?
Yeah.
Just kind of what's the role there?
There are multiple layers. One part is, I think, I am a fan. I grew up the son of a sports writer. Okay. So my dad was a sports editor of a paper in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and so I was being dragged around to games as a little kid. And so I love sports. I think it's just fun. When I was a professor, I used to tell my wife, if the wrong school calls me on the right Sunday, we're moving. Because I hate to lose. All that is there. Yeah. Then there's a part that, as I mentioned before, I get that athletics is part of the business model. Yeah. And it's not only a big investment of resources for the university, it has payoffs in lots of ways. And it's important to me as the president to be part of that and to think about it and as a strategic component of what we do. And then the third layer is really just more, how can I help? Yeah. And how can I help Damon? How can I help any of the coaches, whether it's, the right recruit might want to meet the president. Yeah. Sometimes it's just an investment we can make to make the fan experience better, something that will help coaches with the resources they need to be more competitive. So there's sort of multiple ways in which I think it hits my job.
Are you going to be in the stands? Are you going to be, what's your game day experience like for football at least, all the other indoor sports?
So one I'm excited to see. I've never seen the Boulevard.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, and everything I hear, it's just absolutely world-class tailgating.
Yeah.
And so I'm really fired up to be part of that, and I think it's going to be just a ton of fun. There is a presidential suite over here on the west side, which I think they're hopefully putting a little bit of paint and carpet in that to update it, but I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But I think especially early in the job, I will enjoy just walking around and getting to meet people. A large part of the first year is going to be just to meet as many people as I can. Yeah. Everything from people who have the suites, but also kind of the more recent alums who we hope they end up in a suite one day. Yeah. But we really want them to maintain the connection with the university, because it's that sort of lifeblood, immediate, but also for future generations.
You've been a part of major conference realignment before, and you're seeing the payoff for SMU as well now. What is the world of that right now, just as a whole, as a president? Because all of those moves, it seems like, are, for the most part, presidential level type of decisions. And shaking on all of those trees.
And yeah, they're big enough that the presidents and chancellors are having to be involved differently probably than previously. And it is just, as you know, and you've been part of it, it is just a crazy time in college sports. And the economic forces, I think, are stronger than ever and are moving things in ways that have been different. The realignment push has been part of that. And you're seeing, really, I think, kind of a consolidation of power where the biggest brands, the biggest schools from a sports perspective want to compete against each other. The students want to play against the very top competition. It's not just media and NIL, but it's also fan engagement. We all get excited when it's a rivalry game, and those things are just different. So I think that's a large part of it. Now that the settlement's been approved, hopefully we'll get a chance to kind of get our legs back under us. Yeah. And it'll be, I think, a year of a lot of adjustment from what's been happening with front-end loading of NIL deals. It's going to take, I think, a year or two for things to sort of stabilize, to figure out what kind of the so-called true NIL market looks like. But I really hope in a year or two we feel like, okay, it's a new normal, but it's somewhat normalized. Yeah.
The On the Pony Express podcast is presented by the Thomas Auto Group. Make sure you guys head up 75 to McKinney. Visit Brandon Thomas's 4 dealerships, Ford, Subaru, Volkswagen, and Mitsubishi. Again, they take great care of me and all of the people I've pointed their way already. They've got a great collision center, service center that can get your car back up and running on the road. They service all makes and models in their collision center as well, so that's worth noting. And of course, they can hook you up, whether it be pre-owned or new vehicles. They can get you into the right vehicle and make sure that it is the right decision for you and your family. And when you go through the Thomas Auto Group, mention On the Pony Express and get employee pricing on new and pre-owned vehicles. So appreciate the Thomas Auto Group. Back to the interview with SMU President Jay Hartzell. You're at a place where the leadership of the board is really excited about taking SMU to wherever the top is of the future of athletics. What does that look like for you guys shepherding the school and making sure if there is that next shoe to drop or domino to fall, that SMU is just best positioned as it can be?
Yeah, I think I feel very blessed to work with this board. So supportive of the school, and they also have been on the same journey, I think, as the whole university, understanding the role of athletics and supporting really our university level ambitions, right, and goals. So that's part of it, and part of the conversation when we hired Damon was very explicitly talking about there may be future shocks to the way college athletics is organized and run, and we want to make sure we have a seat at the table. Yeah. And so maintaining and hopefully even improving our position is going to be important. That's going to start on the field and making sure we are very competitive there. But you've seen it. Schools our size have been at the top of college athletics in all kinds of sports, including football. So there's no reason we can't remain competitive and hopefully, go out and compete and win championships.
How do you take the university in tandem with athletics and get it even more engaged in Dallas and embracing Dallas and being that true Dallas team?
Yeah, that's one of the most exciting things about the job, to be honest. I think this wouldn't be as great of a university or as interesting of a job in my case if it were in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And so, it's everything here from, as I mentioned, I'm on sort of a meet and greet tour trying to get out and talk to Dallas's leaders, whether those are corporate or in the arts or in the community, and help them know that we're here. Many of them have already been engaged, but how can we do even more to that end? We should be a source of talent if they want to go out and hire interns or students. Source of ideas. We can convene people in different ways. So that's going to be a lot of the effort. And then trying to find places where Dallas and our location give the university unique opportunities. So, for example, one of the first dinners I went to was with the Dallas Fed. Okay. And the President Lori Logan's been tremendous. And there are going to be neat things we can do because of our proximity to a great part of the Federal Reserve that will allow us to be part of conversations around the role of business, economics. That's an example of what we can do because we're here. Yeah.
you're also, maybe on a meet and greet tour with several new deans as well.
Right.
You've added some new faces. What's that like, having a group of people that you are also all kind of learning, maybe moving into, your certain spots or whatever?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's really interesting, and I don't know when it will happen. I think it'll be decades before a president follows a president who was in there for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, Dr. Turner did an incredible job, and so on the one hand, I'm following somebody who had this, these really deep footprints on the entire university, but it's also kind of nice to do that with other new faces. So we've got this nice blend, I think, in the leadership team of some people who really know what's going on and can help us, but people who are bringing different perspectives from other universities to come at the same time. And we all have, I think, this sense, both the kind of the incumbents, if you will, and the new faces are all, I think, just fired up and want to work together and find ways to advance things. So I'm grateful that I've got other new people with me, because I don't feel quite so uneducated when I ask a dumb question. There are plenty of dumb questions we're all asking right now, and that there's some comfort in that. And then, but at the same time, you can see, look at who we've been able to draw and where they've come from and what their records look like, and we all get a sense of the momentum behind the university.
Is there anything, how long will it take for you to say, okay, I've seen enough of X, Y, and Z, now it's time to make these changes or chart this course or continue to hone in on that area, because that's doing really well for the individual schools around campus?
Yeah, my hope is that the plan that we're going to develop as a campus will come out, call it mid-spring, in a public forum. There'll be certain things that are so clear that we won't wait.
Yeah.
Where we're going to do some things that I hope will just be signs of our intentions and our goals. But I think we'll be able to articulate, if these are things we think are really special opportunities for the university, probably into the fall and early spring. But I also am very cognizant that this is dynamic. Like, there are going to be great ideas that come about in 1, 2, or 3 years from now, and we got to be ready. And so I always worry that people think about, when you do have a strategy, that it's a one-time shot. And the dynamic environment like Dallas is going to lead to different opportunities over time. And take what you asked about sports. Think how much that's changed in the last 5 years. Right? And so you can't just sort of think this is our one chance to come up with our strategy.
Right. When you look at the Cox School of Business, brand new building, everything, as somebody who came from a very successful business school over at UT, seeing what they've done with Cox, was that a part of, wow, look at this at SMU? And
for sure, it's probably a part of the campus I was more aware of and in touch with. I interviewed for a job there when I came out of the PhD program, and actually, probably the good feelings I have for SMU, they made me a job offer. But I went to New York at the time, and so I've known about Cox's excellence for a long time. I hadn't seen the new buildings. That part is phenomenal. So I knew probably more there, but I also have been learning. So the new provost and I went over and met with the Meadows School, and there are parts of that are world class. And so that's part of the fun of kind of the new job, the new environment, is going and saying, wow, we're really good at this, this, and this. And can I tell that story on behalf of the campus? How can that complement what else we want to accomplish? And how can we get more people to think of SMU as a destination?
Damon's job is in part to maybe put some more improvements into Ford. What does that look like for a president? Do you walk around, take the whole tour of campus, and say, okay, all right, this building, that building, like start the list of priorities on physical changes to buildings? I think
part of what is fun and interesting about the campus is in great shape. And and I come from a place that there are really hard physical plant problems where I come from, just because it's an old big campus. And I think the campus here is really special, and I think there's been a priority placed on what the physical environment does here to a learning environment, to athletics and other places. So This is not a place where, as a president, you walk around and think, I've got a lot of buildings to fix.
Yeah.
The
red brick's chipped right there.
Yeah, I'm looking for something. It's hard to find.
Yeah.
I do think, I know Damon has talked about, for example, the game day experience, the customer experience from an athletic standpoint. That's something that we've talked a little bit about, just comparing and contrasting what we know of from places we've been to what we see here. I think in terms of the academic side of the house, first will be strategically where do we want to focus, and then where can an investment in the real estate or physical assets help drive that. Yeah. So if we said, actually we want to, I'll make it up, do even more in computing, sure. Then do we have the right computing facilities? We have a supercomputer, but is the facility big enough? Yeah. Do we have the right classrooms? So that's the kind of thing. I think we'll let the strategy drive the physical side, and then the physical side helps attract the human side. Yeah. And then it all kind of works.
Shout out to our friends at Manny's Tex-Mex. Manny's Tex-Mex is the place to be, whether it's happy hour, lunch, dinner, they even do brunch. Make sure you head over to Manny's Tex-Mex and say those magic words, queso, queso, when you talk with your server. That gets you 10% off your food in restaurant or takeout. So you have to order through Manny's for that discount, but say queso, queso, and just let them know, hey, I'm supposed to get my 10% off the food. They'll log it. You'll get the 10% off. You'll leave happy. You'll leave full. And you'll leave following a great experience at any of their 4 locations across DFW. Shout out to Manny's Tex-Mex, which celebrated 20 years last month as well. So Manny's continuing to do it at a high level, and we appreciate all their support of the On the Pony Express podcast.
It's really interesting when you walk around campus and you see how much it's changed over the years with, even just Cox getting done. But there is that sense where it is just this, kind of gridlocked, or not gridlocked, but it's locked into its space.
Yeah.
So
it is.
How do you guys approach that as well when looking at, okay, we could put something over here, you've got cross 75 right there, a little bit space, things like that.
It is,
I mean, that's something that, is still in progress.
For sure. But and that's another part of kind of things I have where I have to learn. I asked for, can I get a map of what we own?
Just right up. Where? And what do we own?
Yeah, because I do think over time, there'll be opportunities to do things with our land. But to your point, things in the kind of heart of campus, the land is precious, and it's beautiful. Oh, yeah. So you got to think carefully about, if something needs to be built or done differently, it's a scarce resource. And the other part, I wouldn't want to do anything that disrupts this place. And I think President Turner had some quote about life's too short to go to school in an ugly campus.
Well, it's true.
It's true.
It's true. I don't know if he said that, but it's absolutely
it's a good
true.
quote, right?
Yeah, it's good.
And so and this embodies that vision of a special physical environment. So, but I do think if we're going to continue to aspire to be even greater, then trying to make sure the campus matches that. But there may be pockets, like you mentioned, different locations east of the expressway, for example, where we can do things a little bit differently and more creatively, because it's not, on the main part of the campus.
Well, and to end on this, it's the summer. It's a little quiet around here.
Yeah.
How excited are you for the fall to get here, get the student body back, in full force on campus, and what does that look like? Do you walk the campus a lot? Are you out and about? Yeah,
I love that part, and one of the hardest things about taking a job like being a president is it removes you out of the classroom. I miss teaching, and so I've always trying to find different ways to engage with the student body, and I think that'll be a blast. I love that part of the job, and so trying to find ways, whether it's on social media or events or just bringing people into the office to meet with them. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm grateful that I've got kind of a couple months to learn. before the craziness comes.
Yeah.
I know it's coming.
Parking's going to change.
Yeah.
You have a spot. But
I have a spot. They did ask me yesterday. They said, "Do you want to renew your reserve spot?" I said, "Please."
Be careful about parking, Pony. They will get you. They will get you.
Yeah, that was one of the first questions. If I get a ticket, what happens? But so I do think I'm really excited about the energy that we'll bring back to campus. But I'm grateful that I get to get my legs under me, hopefully a little bit before all that gets started. But you know, from things like football and volleyball, it's coming, and it's going to be awesome.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks so much for doing this and
thanks,
joining us on the podcast.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
SMU President Jay Hartzell stopping by on the Pony Express podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch you next time.
Thank you.
Really hope you guys enjoyed that interview with President Jay Hartzell. And there's a lot more to come at ontheponyexpress.com celebrating this great anniversary of SMU being 1 year into the ACC. So make sure you head over to ontheponyexpress.com for more. I'm wearing my Roback shirt today. Code PONY20 gets you 20% off your first order. That's first-time customers only. PONY20 gets you 20% off your order at roback.com. So make sure you check out our friends at Roback. Of course, give Mark Villasana a call, 214-352-5656, or email him info@nwagencies.com to discuss your current rates, coverage, and where you may lack protection. This is the time to get that all organized before football season takes over everything else on the weekends. You don't have as much time after that. So a perfect time to make sure your insurance is where it needs to be before the craziness of football season. So do that and tell Mark Villasana that the On the Pony Express podcast sent you. And we appreciate you guys listening to the special interview-only edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. For our whole team at ontheponyexpress.com, thank you guys for such a fun year. Of course, we've had many, many years together, whether it be at On3 or other places, but this past year was really, really special. So 1 year into the ACC, we'll see what the next however long brings us, but it is a blast to be with you guys at ontheponyexpress.com. So make sure you subscribe today for just $1 for 1 year. Tomorrow, it goes back to $1 for your first week. So make your choice and jump on board with us at ontheponyexpress.com. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week and enjoy the recruiting fireworks as well as SMU football continues to get it done there. So stay tuned to ontheponyexpress.com for more. We'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU_on3 and on Instagram at on3SMU. And keep it locked to ontheponyexpress.com for more coverage.
If you're a Texas contractor and your insurance guy doesn't speak your language, fire him. We specialize in Spanish-speaking tradesmen. Call today and we'll review your current policy for free. No pressure, just straight answers. You've seen the guy that's your bro. That's us. And just like I protected my grandfather from the sun, we protect you from life's challenges. I'm Mark Villasana, owner and agency principal with Northwest Insurance.
I actually heard about NW agencies through a friend of mine who's been using them for years. Honestly, I've been really impressed. They made the whole process so much simpler than I expected. I was always used to dealing with a lot of back and forth, but with NW it was straightforward, and I always felt like they had my best interests at heart.
We're a full-service independent agency. That means we don't work for a single carrier, we work for you. We've got access to over 100 carriers, so whether you're insuring your home, your truck, or your electrical business, we'll find the coverage that fits your needs and your budget.
It's been a game changer, really. I used to worry a lot about getting the right coverage, especially with my business and home, but now I feel much more confident. They helped me understand my options and made sure I had the right policy for both my business and personal needs.
We specialize in helping hardworking folks, contractors, tradesmen, laborers, the people who keep Texas running. Whether you're a framer in Floresville, a roofer in Seguin, or a plumber in San Antonio, we'll walk you through the process in plain English or Espanol.
We'll pour you a cup of coffee, talk you through your policy, and make sure you leave with more protection and more peace of mind than you came in with.
This is Northwest Insurance. We've got you covered.
Northwest Insurance.